So guys, we've always been saying that the people who make the law, they break the law because they believe that they are above the law. And that is what has been happening right from time immemorial in this country. Laws are made, and the people who make the law, who are supposed to lead by example, they don't do it. But when an ordinary man violates the law, they will come out in their full force and begin to implement the law, to enforce the law, to punish people. Not even enforce it, just they enforce the law, they punish people who have violated the law. But when they violate the law, they will come out and be begging. Of course, most of the time they don't even come out to apologize. But because this one is so glaring, it's so obvious to the whole world, because they cannot tell us that it was doctored. The one of the aides to Buhari, the new media aide to Buhari, Basha Ahmed, he came out and began to defend that video that went viral of the man that was removing the costume that they used for the burial of Habakari. It was because everybody saw it, they captured it, and they never knew that that thing would come up in the first place. And he was defending it. All of a sudden, he removed the whole thing, the statement and the video. He removed it from his Twitter page. What does that tell one? And at the end of the day, the same thing happened to all the task force, the people that went for that burial, the dignitaries. They were the one that make law. The one that is even so shameful is the leader of the task force. This COVID-19 task force leader, who is Boss MUSTAPHA. At the end of the day, they all violated the law. Even Gaba, Shehu, all of them, they violated the law. And they now coming out to apologize. I don't know whether Nigerians will be accepting that apology, but a lot of people, almost all Nigerians, are saying, no, you cannot apologize. Because the same law that you used against other people, that some other people were punished for that. A lot of people, somebody has even gone to jail. There was a taxi driver in Abuja that came out because of hunger. And they said he violated the lockdown rule. And he has been jailed for 6 months. And now, the people who are supposed to know better, who made the law, now violated the law. And now, because Nigerians are coming out to say, no, you can't do that, you must be prosecuted, you must face the law, they are apologizing. Do you think Nigerians should accept that apology? Of course, a lot of people have been saying, Nigerians have been coming out to say, no, that apology is not accepted. You can imagine that kind of a thing. Now you want this country to move forward. The same thing they will tell you, those who have taken people's lives, those who have killed people, they will come and tell us they have repented. They call them repentant Boko people. And they will be justifying it. They still want to give them amnesty. They will be justifying it to those who have been given amnesty in other regions. Because I don't know whether they learned or they heard that those people, they killed people before amnesty was given to them. It's just unfortunate. They are the ones that will flout law. They will come and be apologizing. What kind of apology is that? What kind of apology is that? They always feel that they are larger than life. See, our hospitals, they cannot attend. Our schools, they cannot attend. Everything they cannot attend. They always make provisions for themselves. And the commoners should go and face the music themselves. The things that will make common man to have a good life, they won't do it. Everything is a deliberate act, and they will want to they do things, with impunity, lies upon lies. That is what we are going to be hearing for this government that pride itself on integrity. What kind of integrity is that? Somebody was coming out and saying, oh, because the president has told them to go and isolate themselves, then that settles it. Then why didn't they tell the people that were caught flouting or violating the same order to go and do self-isolation? You see the hypocrisy. Even to the president is hypocrisy of the highest order. Now they are apologizing. Let us see what will happen. The lawyers are not even coming out to say, no, this cannot be. This cannot be. If other people commit offense, they will go in for it. But if they commit the same offense, no, they will be apologizing. They will be looking for ways to manipulate the whole thing. Because this one is just obvious. They can't even deny it. And that's why they are coming out to apologize. If not, their usual way, they will try to downplay it. They will try to tell you, let me even remember something. They would have said, it is the opposition that made them to even violate the law they put in place. They would have done that because that is what they always do. They would have come out to say, yes, the opposition, they are the ones behind this. Because that is what they will always end up, just to justify their impunity. They would have said it's opposition that did it. Opposition that did. And somebody was even talking that, the video that went viral of that man that was removing equipment or whatever the overall was wearing that was supposed to have been disposed properly because of the incident that happened. Somebody was saying, oh, it could be that somebody, what do you mean if somebody had staged that in just to get attention, just to create whatever? But at the end of the day, the person was caught. The NDC, they recognized the person, and the person, they caught the person, and they said, oh, they know the person. But somebody was making excuses. These are the same people. The worst part of it is that the gullible ones, even as they are apologizing, the gullible ones will tell you, say, hey, forget, hey, they've apologized. Yes, oh, that is the sign of humility. What kind of humility is that? That you deliberately violated the law that was put in place by the same you that call yourself the government, and somebody will be making excuses. Yes, that is the sign of humility for him to have accepted, to have agreed that he made a mistake, that they should just, give him that respect. Oh my goodness. The way some people reason is baffling. It's really baffling. Nigerians react as boss Mustapha admits the mistakes made during the burial of the late Malam Abba Kyari, who was the chief of staff to the president Muhammadu Buhari 2015 to 2020. According to the boss Mustapha, the Buhari has raised many concerns. The burial has raised many concerns and reactions from Nigerians, and he therefore has admitted to the errors and claims it was a mistake. Recall that Nigerians have been brutally condemning the way that the burial of the late chief of staff to the president was buried. The burial ground was flocked with lots of people, of which no one was observing social distancing, which is a direct disobedience to the order by the federal government to be able to contain the spread of the coronavirus in the country. According to Mustapha, they have learned from their mistake and could do everything in their power to see that everything goes on well from henceforth. Mustapha, in his statement, said that the government officials and NDCC follow the due procedures in preparing the remains of the late Abba Kyari for burial, and that the Presidential Task Force would strengthen their stand on matters such as this immediately. Although Nigerians reacting to his plea and admittance shows that they are not satisfied with what the boss has stated, they want every one of them, of the attendants of the burial, isolated immediately, while some people insist that this costly mistake does not go unpunished. And some of the reactions are as follows. Someone says, Mr. Boss, this is a big mistake from you. If such mistake comes from someone under your authority, what will be your reaction? Remember, this mistake can cause loss of lives. Mistake or no mistake, do the needful, take a toll. You all proceed to self-isolation and thereafter embark on community service, just as it was pronounced for Funke Akindele. I know nobody is above the law. Okay, it was not a mistake but an act of impunity. After all of you said that Abba Kyari was not a common man. Yes, after all, you say he's not a common man, unlike Nigerians who are commoners. If they close borders, then how their wives and children living in USA, UK and other European countries will be able to run back? We are lucky that the COVID did not start from Nigeria. Otherwise, none of this useless bunch of idiotic elements will still be in Nigeria by now. Poor masses would be left to themselves. May God heal our land and save us from this element called leaders. Someone say, mistake kill you there. Fools, the same mistake you government made to not to close airports after the first Italian index case. Bunch of lawbreakers. And again, there are some reactions. Closing the border doesn't mean they wouldn't be able to use our presidential and private to pick all their families and friends in Europe. Border closure is applicable to commercial flights only. That is why you see France, Germany, USA, UK sending planes to pick their citizens. COVID-19 spread would have been actively contained. Someone said it was a costly mistake. Note, the virus is not emotional. It's not emotional at all. It was not a mistake, but an act of impunity. After all of you said that Abba Kyari was not a commoner. Guys, those are the things that we are talking about. Those are the things that we are talking about, because they know that Nigerians are beginning to understand and realize the kind of people they are made of. They are telling us lies. They will tell you that this and this and that, something that was done, intentionally, and they are telling us it was a mistake because they didn't know that the laws were there, because they are not coordinated, because the order would have been given from the beginning that this and this also people should be there, and now they are telling us mistakes. If we were to be a commoner, they will swing into action. DSS will swing into action. All the security agents, they will swing into action. But when it comes to them, they will like, oh, let us forget about it. Let's forget about it. Can you imagine that kind of a thing? You can imagine now he's telling us that, oh, subsequently such will not repeat itself, so that if other people violate the law, they will now swing into action. They will now swing into action because they have already done what they wanted to do, because they've done their own. If anybody falls into that sin or law breaking, they will swing into action. Now they have done their own, so it should be swept under the carpet. Subsequently, it will not repeat itself, something that you did intentionally. So guys, let us hear your opinion, whether you think this apology should be accepted from people from at that level, not knowing what to have done in the first place. The case of Funke happened 2 weeks ago, or more than that. It happened 2 weeks ago, and they want to tell us that they don't know anything about the whole thing, that is just coming as a new case to them, as a new law to them. If you think that this apology should be accepted or they should face the music, let us know from the comment section. Thank you.